Croatia can be unfamiliar territory for even the most seasoned traveler, but it's no more difficult to put together a dream trip. Summer, specifically July and August, is the busiest time on Croatia's coast and islands. This is the country's season, a time when the sun is the hottest, the sea the bluest, and traffic endless. There are many ways to designate Croatia's regions: coastal and inland, islands and mainland, northern and southern. Croatia is such a diverse country that it is difficult to standardize any touring plan of action to cover all its important places. Plitvice Lakes National Park is 90 miles southwest of Zagreb. Plitvice is Croatia's best-known natural wonder. The park's 16 crystal-clear, turquoise lakes and countless waterfalls put on a great show. The lakes flow into one another and tumble over deposits of travertine, creating waterfalls that drop a few feet or plunge as much as 210 feet. All this beauty is set in a dense forest, accessed via footpaths, and populated by bears and wild boar. There are two entrances to the park, Ulas 1 and Ulas 2, each of which has a tourist info office, gift shop, and snack shop. Tickets are roughly $13 per day for adults, and $6 for seniors, and kids 7 to 18. Children 6 and under are free. Plitvice is a hiker's paradise, but even couch potatoes can see most of the park's features by combining walking with riding on the Plitvice ferries and buses. To get to Plitvice by car from Zagreb, take the Zagreb-Rijeka autocesta to Karlovac. Trip should take about 2 hours. You can catch a bus from the main bus station in Zagreb from 8:20 a.m. to 1:45 a.m. for $8 to $12 one way, depending on the time of departure, bus line, and other factors. Hollywood's most creative designers would struggle to build a set as perfect as Dubrovnik. This city made of stone and light is as dazzling as the sunlight and moonbeams that ricochet off its 14th-century ramparts. It's known for its distinctive old town, encircled with massive stone walls, completed in the 16th century. Its well-preserved buildings range from Baroque St. Blaise Church to Renaissance Sponza Palace and Gothic Rector's Palace. Dubrovnik was the main filming location in Croatia for King's Landing, the capital of the Seven Kingdoms, in the Game of Thrones HBO TV show. Fans of the Game of Thrones will understand the thrill of visiting the real-world filming locations of its scenes set in Dubrovnik. Roofs with orange terracotta tiles, impressive stone, and wild seas, it seemed perfect posing as King's Landing, with high-rising cliffs and a stunning ancient city wall overlooking the Adriatic Sea. Reaching Dubrovnik, by any means except air, can be inconvenient and expensive. Driving is challenging, because of the city's position between the mountains and sea. Ferry routes to Dubrovnik often include multiple stops at various islands, and train service is non-existent. Build in extra travel time when you plan a visit to Dubrovnik. Split is Croatia's second largest city and home to some of the best preserved Roman ruins in the world. Split is a transportation hub for the Dalmatian coast, which makes it a busy crossroads. Today, Split is the source of an extensive transportation network, and it is one of the most accessible cities in Croatia. Most of Split's best sites are within the walls of Diocletian's palace or nearby. The walled city is limited to pedestrians. Even the street skirting the river, immediately outside the palace walls, is closed to motorized vehicles. There are a few sites worth taking in outside the historic core: the Mitrovic Gallery in Marjan, the public beach at Plitvice, and you can reach those via bus or taxi. With 226-mile drive from Zagreb, you can reach Split in 4 hours. Split is well served by local, national, and international buses, and the station is conveniently located next to the ferry port. Split's main train station is next to the main bus station, near the town centre. It runs between Split and Zagreb, Nin, and Dubrovnik. There is also an overnight train between Split and Zagreb. Split's ferry port, directly across the street from the river and palace, is the busiest part of town. International, local, and island ferries move in and out of the area: Krk, Hvar, Vis, Korcula, Lastovo, and Salta. Hvar, a Croatian island in the Adriatic Sea, is best known as a summer resort. Highlights of the port town, Hvar, include its 13th-century walls, a hilltop fortress, and a main square anchored by the Renaissance-era Hvar Cathedral. The island also features beaches such as Dubrovnik and inland lavender fields. Boat excursions serve the nearby Paklini Islands, which have secluded beaches and coves. Hvar's principal towns are Hvar Town, Stari Grad, Vrboska, Jelsa, and Sukiraj, though Hvar Town seems to be the center of current interest in the island. Jadrolinija operates car ferry service between Split and Stari Grad, and some runs also stop at Korcula and Dubrovnik. Hvar Town is St. Moritz, with surf instead of snow. It's Hollywood meets nice, Milan sophistication melded with Mediterranean relaxation, and the Las Vegas Strip transported to Tuscany. Hvar Town is a magnet for rock stars, tycoons, and the hip beautiful people drawn to their blazing orbits. Krk, Croatia's largest island, is also the country's most developed, especially in the north, where the island is connected to the mainland via a mile-long toll bridge. The 5th-century Krk Cathedral has a marble altar and stone Corinthian columns, engraved with Christian symbols. Overlooking the sea is Frankopan Castle, with centuries-old stone passages, and a bell tower. In a small bay to the east, tiny Korcula Island is home to a Franciscan monastery. Ferries leave from Valbiska on the west side of the island for Kres and Losinj, while another ferry line makes regular runs between Lopa, Rab, and Baska on Krk's southern end during the summer months. Krk town is well served by buses from Rijeka, and so are the nearby towns of Omisolj, Njivis, Malinska, and Punat, which are stops on the same route. Even if you don't have your own car, you can see all of Krk's main sites. Buses run regular routes between major towns and connect with less frequent local lines. There is a new spirit in Zagreb, a city that travelers once regarded as a stopover, rather than a destination, as far back as the days of the Orient Express. The city of Zagreb is nestled between Mount Medvednica and the Sava River. It is a sprawling metropolis, but almost every attraction of note is within 2 miles of Bana Jelačić, the city's main square, commonly known as Jelačić. The area north of the Jelačić includes Gornji Grad, the upper town, and its Gradok and capital neighborhoods, which are perhaps Zagreb's most picturesque areas. Donji Grad, the lower town, south of Jelačić, includes Zagreb's famous Green Horse Show, and runs south to the main train station. Croatia Air, the national airline company, connects Zagreb with several major European hubs, as well as with other cities in Croatia. Frequent bus connections link Zagreb and all of Croatia's main cities, which in turn hook up with local lines that run to virtually every village in the country. International connections link Zagreb to an increasing number of European cities. The Zagreb train station is close to bus and tram connections into the city center. Driving in Zagreb can be stressful and sometimes nightmare. Pula, a seafront city on the tip of Croatia's Istrian peninsula, is known for its protected harbor, beach-lined coast, and Roman ruins. The vast Roman Pula arena, well-preserved amphitheatre, constructed in the 1st century, is still used for events today. Pula has other worth-seeing vestiges of Roman occupation, including Temple of Augustus, Forum and Arch of the Seggi. The Pula Cathedral dates to the 5th century, with even older foundations. Built in 1630, Pula's hilltop, star-shaped castle houses a historical museum. On a group of islands offshore, Brijuni National Park has dinosaur footprints, Roman ruins and a golf course. Besides its cache of Roman artifacts, the city is home to a graceful Gothic Franciscan monastery, erected by the monks when they arrived at the end of the 13th century. Rovinj is one of the most photographed cities in Croatia. From the air, its location on a promontory makes it look like a fairy tale village suspended on a pillow of bright blue sea. At ground level, it looks like the quintessential Italian fishing village. Today, Rovinj's old town is a protected monument and one of Istria's most visited sites. The old town stands on a headland with houses tightly crowded down to the seafront. A tangle of cobbled streets leads to the hilltop church of St. Euphemia, whose towering steeple dominates the skyline. South of the old town is Lone Bay, one of the area's pebble beaches. The Rovinj archipelago's 14 islands lie immediately off the mainland. There is more to the island of Korcula than the walled city of Korcula town. In the less than 30 miles between the picturesque walled city at the eastern end of the island and the Villa Luca at the other end, you'll find vineyards and wineries, hills and hiking trails, and quiet towns like Lumbuda, Smokvica, and Blato. The island is twinned with Rothsea in Scotland. Korcula is linked to Split by speedy catamarans and ferries, each of which makes the round trip at least once per day. Korcula's main attraction is the medieval Korcula town and its walls, where you will find several historic churches, museums, and other points of interest. Korcula town likes to promote a once nondescript stone edifice as the birthplace of Marco Polo, but there is no credible documentation that the great explorer ever set foot on the island. Trsteno is a district of Dubrovnik, in southern Croatia. It is located on the magistral road, between the Orasac and Slano. Trsteno Arboretum, located about 15 miles from Dubrovnik, was used as the setting in the Game of Thrones Seasons 3 and 4. It is mostly associated with the scenes involving the powerful family from the Reach, the Tyrells, which made it earn the famous nickname, the Tyrell High Garden. Aside from its Game of Thrones appeal, the Arboretum is truly a hidden gem, well worth a visit, in case you happen to be in Dubrovnik. Spanning over 70 acres, with over 450 species of plant life, the Trsteno Arboretum is the oldest and biggest monument of garden architecture in Croatia. A Renaissance summer residence, with the encompassing garden, aqueduct, mill, the beautiful fountain with the sea god Neptune, and nymphs, the Belvedere Pavilion, overlooking the sea, and the Elephant Islands, is the finest example of Gothic Renaissance Dubrovnik summer residences, with a developed garden architecture.